DJ General MEalz.
Over the weekend, I was going to one of my gigs and I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast. Shout out to them. Been a fan, worked with them. So shout out to them. And so I was listening to the podcast and they were talking about Juicy J's new album. Now, this is different for them because they don't ever talk about down south albums. It's a rarity. It's a real big rarity for them to talk about a down south album. But they were talking about this Juicy J album and they were all saying how great it was. Then they picked up the phone and called Juicy J. And Juicy J was basically saying, I'm a god, I'm one of the best. He was talking about being on the verses against Pharrell, which at first I kind of laughed at, but when I thought about it, he actually could give Pharrell some trouble. I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's Pharrell, but you got to look at Juicy J's lineup of production. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, I finished that and I said, okay, well, let me check out this album that came out. And so let me pull this up real quick. And so the name of the album is The Hustle Continues. And so on this album, he has features from everybody. Wiz Khalifa, Lil Baby, 2 Chainz, A$AP Rocky, Conway, Key Glock, Young Dolph, NLE Choppa, Megan Thee Stallion. Just everybody. It's really it's a pretty solid album full of features, right? This album is phenomenal. Bombs for this album. I cannot explain to you enough how great this album is. Man, when I tell you that this album is just straight phenomenal, this is a straight up and down south Memphis album. This is a 3-6 Mafia album. There is nothing else said there. Straight 3-6, straight Juicy J. He getting right to it. It's just pretty incredible. I loved this album. Man, when I tell you this album was just great, if we going through the track list, Goddamn High with Wiz Khalifa on it. Wiz Khalifa smoked this. He floated the end of it. It was just real short. It's maybe 30, 45 seconds, but he floated. And it made me want a full album with this. Spend It. I started off the show today with Spend It. Lil Baby was nice on that. 2 Chainz floated like always. Pull Up with A$AP Rocky. Killer with Conway. Now let me tell you something about Conway. Conway is from Buffalo, New York. He a straight Buffalo dude. What's good, Billy? I see you. He a straight up and down Buffalo dude. He get on the boom bap beats. It's just a straight up and down flow. When he jumped on this record with Juicy J, he bodied it. When I tell you the way that I didn't know it was Conway. I'm so used to Conway being on the boom baps and all of that. So I thought that's what Conway was gonna be on. He wasn't. It was straight. He floated on this album, man. It was crazy. I'm looking at, he had Key Glock and Young Dolph, which was interesting to me. I don't know anything about Memphis history, but Key Glock and Dolph are 2 of the biggest artists out of Memphis. They're both independent, both under the same label. Key Glock is under Dolph. But I was very curious of why he didn't have Moneybagg Yo or Yo Gotti on there. Now, they're also Memphis. I also know that they have their issues with Dolph and Key Glock. So I'm a little confused at why he didn't have them on there. But all of them could have been from North Memphis. So that could have been something. I don't know. I don't know Memphis stuff like that. The song I really want to get to is 1995 with Logic. Let me tell you something. I have been on here. I have said numerous times, I am not a Logic fan. Straight up, I'm not. He raps very well. He's not a bad rapper at all. He's very good at rapping. And I've just never been a huge fan of his. I feel like the music that he makes does not impact the culture. for you to be a rapper and for you to be one of Def Jam's most solidified artists, when he dropped on Def Jam, every album that he put out on Def Jam, 100,000 minimum copies sold, 100,000 units sold. That was easy for him. So to see him like just go on that tangent, every album he put out, it just didn't impact me. It didn't give me anything. For him to have the same rapping abilities, in my personal opinion, as Drake, I do think he raps just as great as Drake. Take that with a grain of salt. He never had that impact to me that Drake did, and I couldn't understand it. I think that the music that he was just putting out, it just didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't reaching to me. Even though his last album was great. He had a very good last album, and it still just did not reach out to me. I just don't know what it was. I'm saying all that to say, on this album, this 1995 record, when I tell you that boy floated, man, bombs for that man, man. That man floated. Like, he floated on 1995. Like, I started off the album with that. He floated on that record. It's another record as well. Let me see. It's another record he on as well. Shawty Bad. Both of those records are completely different records. Whenever Juicy J give me the play me some Pimpin Man, when he give me that drop, I know it's about to be soulful. I know it's about to be something that just make you move and feel. Logic floated on that 1995. When he came back with Shawty Bad, that's a straight up and down Memphis banger. Logic floated on that too. They even switched up the beat and everything. I'm saying all this to say, we got to have a conversation about the issue that was with Logic. Because, you know, Logic he's retired. He's a Twitch streamer now. These are probably newer verses still. You know how rappers go in the rap world. You retire and then, you still put out verses. He was rapping phenomenally. So for him to rap that great, I'm not understanding why his impact just wasn't as big. Granted, that's to me. That's somebody to me. His fan base is solid. He goes and sells out arenas and tours and everything like that. We get all that. Like, money-wise, he is the biggest thing out there in the rap world. So I get that. But his impact, 10, 15, 20 years from now, I don't know if they're going to consider Logic one of the best rappers out there when he should be there, especially the way that he did this. That Play Me Some Pimpin' Man hits as hard as the Lex Luger or Zaytoven tag. That's the truth. Whenever you hear Play Me Some Pimpin' Man, it's just as serious as a Metro Boomin tag or Southside or just anything. Them tags, when that Play Me Some Pimpin' Man tag comes on, it's different. Cause on this album, all you heard, you heard the Megan drop. What could you say? That one. You hear that one a lot. But when he says Play Me Some Pimpin' Man, you know it's different. And I mean, you can see the track list down here. Pull Up, Killer, That's the Way It Goes, Shawty Bad, Memphis to LA, I think they had J-Rock on it, She Gon' Pop It. This entire album, 16 tracks of just phenomenal production by Juicy J, phenomenal work by Juicy J. Long story short, Juicy J is an icon, and I think it's time that we fully look at how much he means to the sport of hip hop. We're not recognizing how serious it is with him. What I mean by that is, when we talk about self-made millionaires in this industry, a lot of times we look at the Jay-Z's, we look at the Cash Money millionaires, we look at the Master P's and the No Limit Soldiers. It's rare that we ever mention Juicy J, 3-6 Mafia, what they did coming out of Memphis. It's rare that we mention what they did coming out of Memphis. Those guys, there was nobody else. Like, don't he got a Grammy for Hustle and Flow? Yes, they got a Grammy for the movie Hustle and Flow for Whip That Trick. Him and DJ Paul. You got a Grammy, right? I think he got an Oscar nomination. He had a show on MTV. He's had every major accolade that you could think of in this hip hop game. I mean, one of the biggest songs in the world, I think for me personally, is International Players Anthem. He produced that. The original song was just a 3 6 Mafia song, and then they threw Outkast on that, and then they threw UGK on it. So I've heard all of it. Like, when we talk about self-made millionaires in this industry, we have to really start talking about Juicy J, 3 6 Mafia, everybody, Crunchy Black, Project Pat, Gangsta Boo, just everybody from that Memphis scene, man. That entire Memphis scene, they started all of that, man. Like, the sounds that we're hearing now, the sounds that are hip hop now, the most popular songs right now, that's all 3 6 Mafia, straight up and down. So we really got to start giving respect to these rappers, especially Juicy J. When he said on the Joe Budden show, he said, "Hey, I'm ready to go at Pharrell," I legitimately looked at the radio and said, "Are you serious, Pharrell?" Like, not saying that you can't beat there, but I feel as if Pharrell has such a wide variety of instrumentals. It wasn't until I thought about it, I truly thought about it, I think that he can give Pharrell some trouble. I think a lot of people look at Pharrell and they say, okay, he made the grinding beat, he made a lot of stuff for Clips and a lot of songs for Britney Spears. Granted, you're right. He had a lot of stuff. He got songs with Britney and Justin Timberlake, and he has a wide range of songs. But when we're talking about a straight 20 for 20 hit battle, Juicy J can come up there with Chicken Head. We can come up there with a whole bunch of 3 6 Mafia records, stuff that he wrote. He can come up there with International Players Anthem. He can come up in there with Whip That Trick, and he's gonna stay solidified. So honestly, my personal opinion, we gotta start putting a lot more respect on Juicy J's name, straight up and down. This was just an incredible album. There's no surprises, there's no shocks, there's no, oh, what's this, that? Nope, ain't none of that. It's a straight up and down, in your head noggin, boom, boom, boom. That's it. That's it. That's the full album, man. That's the full album. It's a straight up and down 3 6 Mafia, Juicy J production. I absolutely loved it, man. I love the fact that he didn't change. He floated effortlessly. You gotta remember, he's been doing this 30 years. A 30-year vet. We don't see a lot of 30-year vets in the rap game. You know, we can have our Snoop Dogg's, we have our Jay-Z's, where they're just as prevalent as they were back then. Man, first time I heard 3 6 Mafia, Juicy J must have been in the mid-90s. I was in, I had cousins in Saginaw, Michigan, right? Nowhere near Memphis. And they had all their tapes, had all of them. That was the first time I heard about 3 6 Mafia. That was the first time I heard, We Riding Spinners and Chicken Head, and listening to all these different rappers. Mind you, the big guy on 3 6 Mafia to me wasn't even Juicy J. It was Project Pat, his brother. That was the head honcho. That was the major guy. So to see where they've come from, to see where they're going, man, just incredible, man. More bombs to them on this album, man. All in all, like I said, this album is great. If you have not had a chance to listen to this album, listen to this Juicy J album, understand who he is as a contributor to this culture, as a rapper, as a producer, just as everything. Juicy J needs a lot more respect in this game. Straight up.
DJ General